take in, I give out, I let love, I let go, I release, and I know I forgive, I receive, I can feel, I believe, I am healed, I am whole, I release, I know. No need to push, no need to try, no need to worry or question why. Surrender, let go, release, and know.
Everyone wishes to live their best life. We experiment with various ways to achieve that, whether it is through study, competing, finding a partner, working hard, or admiring someone who inspires you. It is the quality of our inner being that does it all, or grapples with fulfilling life's calling. For the past 20 years, the Brahma Kumaris in Washington, D.C. has been a space for any and everyone to enter into and experience one's soul calling. From 1997, the center opened in an old rickety house on Georgia Avenue in Silver Spring, Maryland, where cars and trucks that passed by would shake the space. But when you were inside, it was a peaceful and powerful sanctuary for all who visited. Since then, over 2,500 events, 17 city and nationwide initiatives, 21 awards, 2 meditation museums have served youths, senior citizens, entrepreneurs, scientists, authors, women, interfaith, the disabled, environment, small businesses, arts seekers, and even leaders. Millions of lives have been served, either through social media, the popular America Meditating radio show, or through exhibitions, lectures, partnerships, and programs held in the meditation museums and centers. We look at 20 years of service as a continued journey of love, courage, wisdom, and determination with friends from diverse backgrounds and thought who believe a better world is possible when we make ourselves better human beings. Meditation is an important tool that helps us to gain greater clarity, insights, and inner power so we can make healthy choices and amplify our capacity to live a full life. In times of great anxiety, insecurity, and fear, meditation is an essential practice for everyone to gain stability and inner strength. Just look at what a few dedicated, purposeful, and kind group of committed people have been able to achieve in 20 years. Thanks to everyone who have supported us along the way. And thanks in advance to those who believe in our work and power of intent. Brahma Kumari's Meditation Museums, where peace is inside.
चलो चले सतयुग में कलयुग की बातें छोड़े चलो चले सतयुग में कलयुग की बातें छोड़े वो देखी स्वर्णिम सुबह अंधियारों से मुख मोड़े वो देखी स्वर्णिम सुबह अंधियारों से मुख मोड़े Let's enter golden age स्वर्णिम युग में करें प्रवेश Let's enter golden age स्वर्णिम युग में करें प्रवेश Let's enter golden age स्वर्णिम युग में करें प्रवेश चलो चले सतयुग में कलयुग की बातें छोड़े देर नहीं वो दिन आएगा स्वर्ग यहाँ मुस्काएगा सच होगा अब ये सपना जग
Om Shanti. Welcome, everyone. Nice to have you here on The Next Normal. I'm your host, Sister Jenna, and you just got a wonderful preview of some of our activities of our headquarters in Mount Abu, India. Of course, because of the pandemic, we're not able to travel there like we used to. The last time I was there was in February, and we came back on March the 1st of this year. Can you believe it? And now, everything has been closed down. But, it was just such a festive experience and a video. And you got a little bit of a view, a little bit of insight of our spiritual headquarters of the Brahma Kumaris. You see how huge it is? And that was just one of the facilities. But while I was watching it, there's this big smile that came over me. It was just like this huge smile. And looking at the dancers, so many of them were from Russia, Thailand. I have another beautiful dance performance of this incredible dancer from Thailand. And that one, I'll see if I can find that in the archive somewhere, and we can show it in one of those nights. But, culture, the arts, it's so huge. And as a result of what we're going through globally, it's an opening. It's a moving towards another level of our age of Renaissance. We're moving towards what I feel is a new kind of a Renaissance. Because of technology, we're becoming more creative in different ways, like Santosh was creative in getting everything together this evening to make sure it worked very smooth. And just to celebrate, this is our 5th lesson of the Raj Yoga meditation course, the foundation course in Raj Yoga meditation. And for those of you who have been with us from the beginning, from part 1, I'm sure you must be feeling something quite unique stirring up inside of your consciousness. Anything new that we introduce into our lives changes. Think about a new relationship when you meet a new partner, how much you change when that new energy comes into your life. Similarly, the foundation course in Raj Yoga meditation is a new concept. It's a new idea, yet very ancient. And if that has been felt or received with love and trust and openness and sincerity, then something must have changed in you. And feel free to put it in the comments section so I can respond, if possible, about just what changes you have been going through since you've been participating in all the sessions of this week. So let's do a little bit of a recap. We've looked on the concept of who we are. The biggest disruption of our karmic energy is to stop considering ourselves to be our bodies, name, gender, the role, religion, and really start to accept and believe I really am a soul, and I am a very, very peaceful soul. Big disruption. You are so Om Shanti, don't even ask. That's why we greet each other Om Shanti over and over again. I, the peaceful soul, am greeting another peaceful soul. It's very powerful. Om Shanti. That's the greeting. Om Shanti. And whenever we're not Shanti, we know we're body conscious. It's very clear. The foundation of all the vices that are emerging in the soul is body consciousness, to be more aware of your limitations, to be more aware of your physical form, your titles and your gender, and that consciousness fed over and over again, fed in many, many lifetimes, actually move us away from the essence of who we are. A very peaceful soul, a very loving soul, a very pure soul. So how many of you remember where the soul is located? Right behind the eyes, right? In the center of the forehead, behind the eyes. So when we go in to meditate, we basically just become reflective. I'll sit and with eyes gently opened, I just start to reflect. I go behind my eyes and I remind myself, I, the soul, am peaceful. And you go into that place and then you begin to experience and realize this is your original nature. So if you can bring that nature in action, then you're really being truthful in everything that you're doing. And whatever choices you're making today, they have a ripple effect. And they do come back to you in the same vibrational frequency or more from the place that you acted upon it. So that's why the more we perform actions in soul consciousness, there's a deep sense of safety and satisfaction that the soul carries, that I'll be okay. I'll be okay. We explored the whole idea of how the soul functions. It has a mind, it has an intellect, and it has resolves, the personality, the sanskaras. That's where your subconscious is. And the whole aim of Raja Yoga meditation is to access the subconscious, to access the resolves, to access the sanskaras, so that the sanskars of body consciousness, algae, anger, lust, greed, attachment, and ego, which are an illusion, it's Maya. The whole effort of Raja Yoga meditation is to have God's love and wisdom access the sanskaras, so it dissolves the algae, that it doesn't have much power to influence the thoughts in your mind, and to give the intellect a challenge or a difficulty to keep trying to discern what is right, what is wrong. Eventually, when your pure nature, your love and your purity and your peace, when that nature starts to be fed and it sends those thoughts to the mind is going to be very contented and very happy. When the mind is contented and happy, then if it sends a thought to the intellect, do this, the intellect can trust that the mind has definitely sent it a good signal. It doesn't have to work overtime to use all this knowledge it keeps getting. Is this right? Should I do this? Oh, am I doing this right? The intellect will automatically know, oh, that's a good thought. It's connected to peace. It's connected to purity. It's connected to love. And of course, it just says, please go. Remember those days when we didn't have as much security as we do now? But you would go somewhere. Oh, I was remembering my young days in my 20s when you would go to clubbing or whatever. And once you knew the bouncer would just say, go on in, you know. You were never waiting in a queue, standing in line, if it's raining, pouring, going through all those struggles. You just always got the red carpet treatment. That's how the intellect should start to feel, you know, that yes, I trust myself, I trust the mind. Please go, please go. You know, this is a good thought that she's having. So that's why it's important to recognize that we do have a way in which we can function with our mind, intellect, and sanskara. The intellect is what works the most in Raja Yoga meditation. That's what really has to be disciplined, be consistent, gain enough knowledge and wisdom so that it can keep refining, revitalizing, recycling those sanskaras and bring back the sanskaras of love and peace and purity. So we talked about God, about Baba, Allah, Jehovah, Shiva, Khuda, Bhagwan, all the various names that come because of geography. But God is one, the Supreme Being, the ocean of love and peace and purity. We also explored the importance of karma philosophy, that what goes around comes around. The boomerang effect. If you do good, you'll receive good. If you give happiness, you'll get happiness. If you give love, you will get love. And if you give sorrow, then sorrow will also come back. The thing with karma is that the result of the choice that we make, it stays as a recording in the soul until love removes it. So many of us are not aware that we're traveling karmically with all the experiences that we've had as a soul in past lives as well. And those karmic situations have a tendency of emerging as a result of a person, a place, a thing, a smell, time. And as a result of it emerging, if it's a karmic debt, it's going to ask you for so much, whether it's love or peace or purity, and it will come in the form where it makes you bankrupt, it makes you lose a relationship, it makes you go into ill health, whatever it might be, which is a challenge or a difficulty. That's actually a sign that there's bankruptcy in that area, and I need love and power and light in order to restore it and pay it off. So once we've understood the philosophy of karma, we stop blaming people, criticizing, complaining, comparing, judging people, or wishing things to be different. We become more responsible for the choices that we make, and we say, that's not what I want for me. I've got to change this. So we go to Baba, which is where the power comes from, and we start from the area of being soul conscious. Through that methodology, we are able to face the karmic debts that we might be carrying, and then we're still open to celebrate the karmic fortune that we're also carrying. But more than anything else, when our karmic fortunes are there, we're happy and we're celebrating. But when the karmic debt comes, it feels like it's a little bit of a torture, like a little bit of hell. So in Raj Yoga, it says you don't have to suffer in hell when you're dealing with a debt. Why don't you use the energy of God's love to settle that account? So the practice of having all relationships with the Supreme Father, keeping a connection to the divine is really, really important. So then we covered also the cycle of time. And I know that one was a trigger. Imagine the cycle is eternal, right? And let's just say that the cycle of time before it gets recycled is 5,000 years, for example. Within that 5,000 years, imagine it being able to break apart in 4 equal pieces. 4 equal state of consciousness, the soul will travel through birth, rebirth, birth, rebirth. So we explored in the session before this one that when we first leave the womb of God, first come down, we're like full, we're 100% filled with virtues and powers and qualities and love and light. And it's because the law of nature, we naturally start to wane those vibrations. They naturally start to leave the soul. No one's to be blamed. So from a golden aged consciousness, which is pure gold, we find ourselves experiencing a consciousness in a birth as silver aged, still a good strength, but not as pure as we used to be. As we continue with our journey throughout time, birth and rebirth, carrying the sanskaras, carrying the effects of karma, we also find ourselves in a state of duality where we're in now like a copper aged consciousness, where I'll give you this if you give me that. We're bartering, we're making business deals, we're searching for God for the first time in that particular age. In the golden and silver ages, we were so filled with love and virtues and peace and power, where there wasn't a search for God, but there was a godliness everywhere. But in the copper age, because that quality was getting less in our personality, it was natural for the soul to start to look outside of itself, to find that energy or that concept of God to help to fulfill what was now becoming a void. It's a very interesting journey of the soul, you know. So as the soul continues to journey throughout time, birth and rebirth, if you believe in that, because we do, it reaches that iron aged state. And what's become really prominent in our sanskaras and in our personality is algae, body consciousness, Maya. And then what's interesting is that everywhere we look around the world, everyone's the same. So we don't think we're doing anything wrong unless they do something horrible like kill somebody or steal or this or that. Then we say, well, that's an awful person. But, you know, every time you get angry, that's not you. Every time you're jealous, it's not you. When you gossip, that's not the real you. When you're criticizing someone, that isn't you. But that's the body consciousness that's speaking. And each time we feed that body consciousness, we've moved so far away from the original nature of the soul. So imagine the golden age, how you were when you were golden aged, like a deity, fragrant, so rich, so pure, so beautiful, so naturally wise. And imagine the condition in which the soul has reached, where it has its own intelligence, but it's so different than it used to be. In the Iron Age now, a lot of our choices might be governed by fear, believe it or not. There's some element of ego in why I do what I do. I do it because I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm from this country, I speak this language, this is my profession, this is my title. All of those are ego choices. So they don't bring back the satisfaction that the soul is thirsting for. But let's say that those are the roles and the parts that I have to play. But I don't have ego in it. I consider myself to be a pure and peaceful soul as I play the role of a doctor, as I play the role of a teacher, as I play the role of a mother, a wife, a sister, a friend, then I'll get the return of the soul conscious feeling that I'm performing that choice or that action in, so it starts to actually serve the soul. So that's what you're learning in Raj Yoga, because now we're at the confluence stage. There's this very pivotal in-between stage, the diamond age, where the old us no longer wants to shine. The old us no longer wishes to move into a future. And what is definitely going to happen? A golden age is coming, and none of us can stop it. And so if a golden age is coming, and I seem to have some of those qualities that I'm loving, who would not say that they're a loving person? I'm a nice person, I'm a pure person, I'm a peaceful person. Those are all golden aged qualities. So the more we can accumulate them and enhance them, then the more we can find that there's hope in our future. And it's not just based on an election, and we can never ever wait for an elected leader to change our lives or to make our lives better. If we do that, we're going to be lost. We have to change our lives, and we have to become spiritually empowered and spiritually ignited, that leaders that might not have the best of motives no longer exist. There's a saying in India, as is the king, so will be the subjects. And we think about that a lot, what is it in countries around the world that has brought into particular power certain personalities that I might say is not golden aged. And I'm talking about so many countries. I'm not even thinking about America. I'm just talking about so many countries. Our wonderful friends in Thailand are going through a very hard time right now. And I thought to myself, wow, and Thai is such a beautiful, peaceful place. Like, what is going on? So there's that saying, as is the king, so are the subjects. So what if we become so empowered and so spiritually enlightened, we won't attract a leader with those qualities. We will definitely attract a leader with the qualities of the virtues and the powers that we embody as a citizen, right? So I want you all to kind of give that some thought as we move into our final class of this evening. Please let me know if you have any thoughts or things that you'd like to share. You have some questions? Okay, let me see before we go on. What's the practical way to do it, Devyani? Can you please elaborate on soul consciousness? Okay, so soul consciousness, the first and foremost thing is you're aware. It's your awareness. You're aware that you are a living energy. The energy is eternal, immortal, imperishable. Sit with that for a little bit. Don't rush too fast ahead. Can you imagine? You're going to live forever, but not in the same form, not in the same gender, not in the same name. Soul just exists. And whether you're going to do it down here on the earth plane or up there in the soul world with Baba, the soul will exist. So what are some of the memories and experiences I want to live with for a very long time? So be aware that I am imperishable. And whatever I think, say, and do stays recorded in me for quite a long time. Have that awareness in you. The other aspect that you can practice soul consciousness is consider the qualities of the soul. And what we'll do is, Santosh has a nice paper that has soul awareness and body awareness. I'll have him put that up at some point today. And then when you scroll back at the session today, you'll get a chance to see what soul awareness is like versus body awareness. It is a consciousness. So when you practice practically, I am a soul. You are in a particular state of consciousness. You're not just thinking of yourself as a point of light behind your eyes, but you are aware that that point of light has a particular way of being. Right? Like there are certain ways that you won't perform certain actions, and Santosh will put that up shortly so that you'll get a chance to, go back and forth and see it. You can put it up. So as you see this diagram, you'll get a chance to recognize what it is to be soul conscious. It's just written out there completely. Your heart is opened and loving. You will love yourself. You'll make God your best friend. You'll attract beauty in your life. Your third eye will show your reality, which means you're awakened and not asleep. Peace is your religion. It goes on and on and on. And of course, you can go back and look at this when this session is over. But when you are not practicing soul consciousness, look at your attitude. You criticize, you find fault with everyone, you have a judgmental attitude, your happiness doesn't last for long, you become very defensive, you have poor listening skills. You seek approval. Santosh is going, oh yeah, I get that one. You lack integrity. So that's what it is. When you practically understand what soul consciousness is, it is actually a state of awareness. Okay? All right. So I hope that was pretty simple and that answered your question. So let's move on to the session of today, which is about the 8 powers. Because without the powers, you can't become a deity. Let's put those up. The 8 essential powers of Raj Yoga allows you to master yourself. It will help you to master your mind, intellect, of course, and sanskaras. Although we all possess these powers, we don't really use them. Spiritual powers are the secret tools for changing yourself. And the powers are the fruits of meditation, and the powers strengthen the mind and intellect such that the soul can pass through any situation in a state of inner sovereignty and wisdom. So let's take a look at the power to withdraw. It allows you to be introspective. It enables you to be free from the influence of whatever is happening around you. When you apply the power to withdraw, you become a detached observer of the scenes that are emerging in and around you. There is a sense of quietude about you, and you have the ability to focus very well because you're not taking things so personally, nor are you so caught up in everything that's happening around you, you see? When you apply the power to withdraw, you can find that you have the ability to control more your response, and also you have that attention. So let's say that you're in a situation at home with the family. And let's say that, let's say you have a relative that has dementia or Alzheimer's. I'm just giving you an example. And you know that the person's behavior is unusual. And of course, you're going to try to do something to help them. You might even try to do something as silly as try to change them, which is impossible. But then you realize that you need to use the power to detach a little bit. You need the power to withdraw. And as a result of doing that, you're able to see the situation with a different eyesight or insight. So that's how the powers can work for us in that particular example. Let's take a look at the power to pack up. A lot of us are carrying a lot of waste from the past. The power to pack up says it's time to let it go. Leave behind the things that no longer are needed in the present. Are you able to put a full stop to the things that have hurt you? Are you open to it? Well, there's a power that is needed in order for us to let our past go. You need a lot of courage to really pack up and let things go of the past. The virtue that can help you stay clear, be very forgiving, stay positive, be simple. Right? So the power to pack up will also help you to let go. One of the things I loved about our traveling rules a few years ago is that you can no longer take a lot of luggage with you. We were like, oh, thank you. Because now when you would travel to the developing country, instead of taking like 80 pounds of stuff, you could tell them, I can only take 30, I'm sorry. It became a blessing. So the power to pack up is a good power. You know, there's so much. There's still so much healing, everybody, that we need to do. And this is a great time during this pandemic. This is a great time, everyone, to really start to heal your past and forgive everyone and everything, and including yourself, for holding on to something that was inevitable for so long, and just let it go. Every day you wake up in the morning and you talk to Baba and you tell Baba it's time to let this go. It's no longer needed in my life. So let's look at the power to tolerate. Some people look at tolerance as a very compulsive practice. It isn't. When you are able to tolerate, there is a fullness about you. There's an understanding about things. You just know. It's about love. When you can tolerate the behavior of a relative, the behavior of, friends or family or situations that you have no control over, you will be a loving person because you know you can't change it. So it's the ability to send positive energy when you are the recipient of negative vibrations. It will allow you to respond rather than to act. And the virtues that can help you to put more power into this particular quality is self-respect, patience, acceptance, generosity, love, even detachment. The power to accommodate. I love this one very much. Reminds me of being by the ocean and how the ocean takes so much in, yet it just continues to stay an ocean. So it's the flexibility to merge, it's the ability to merge, to kind of let things go. Don't take everything so personally, that you're so sensitive that you lose sight of who you are and you lose sight of your peace. So just look at how when you're using these powers in your everyday life, the quality and the sanskars that are being reshaped, recycled in your personality. Just imagine when you are using the powers, how you stand strong from the inside versus allowing the outside to influence the way you should feel. So the power to accommodate also invites you to forgive and forget. It's the ability to adjust to maybe another person in their situation. Now this has always been my favorite power. It's the power to discern, something that the world needs so much of right now. It will help you to really discriminate in terms of like, like the swan who has the ability to choose to find the pearl or the stone. Your discernment will be able to sift through the illusions that maybe the world is trying to feed you consciously. And today, Santosh and I were talking about technology, how so many of us are now living on technology 10 times more than we ever did before the pandemic. And if we're not careful, especially with social media, they're feeding us things that now they've seen the collective or people think they want to be fed. And then after a while, you don't think for yourself. So we're really begging you, use this power to discern and determine what is a golden aged thought to have, what is a golden aged relationship to serve, that I don't need to go down that rabbit hole of negativity and deception, So the power to discern requires a divine intellect. It requires a lot of knowledge, experience, remembrance, which is yoga. The sharper your intellect can work by using the power to discern, it's a sign of your purity, your honesty, your clarity, your truthfulness. And a key component of the master powers, this is really the power you want to develop in you, to discern what is real, what is not, what is truth, what is an illusion. It will help you to really be honest with yourself and to understand what is your need at this time. So the power to judge or the power to choose wisely. Your decision-making skills are important. Many of us are making important decisions during this particular time. Some are changing their careers, some are changing their spouses, some are changing their countries, their cities, their homes, their cars. These are important decisions, believe it or not. Some folks are changing even what they're studying in college or in school. That's a lot of important decisions are being made right now. So decision-making power is important. It will enable you, when you know how to judge wisely, you will always come with a decision that is very balanced, very fair, very just. There's like a really equal sense of balance and equilibrium in you. This is another one of my favorite powers. The power to face gives you the ability to destroy any obstacles that come in front of you. The ability to accept truth and confront these obstacles. You will develop faith in yourself. You'll be able to look at your own weaknesses and stop blaming people for making you feel the way that you feel. You will become aware that I am in charge of how I'm feeling and I need to face that. And when you develop the courage to face yourself, I can't begin to stress how much growth will take place. It's because we're not facing ourselves why the growth and the transformation is taking so long. Because we're hiding behind an illusion. And the longer we hide behind an illusion, the longer the struggle in my marriage continues, the longer the struggle between me and my child continues, the longer the struggle between me and my superior at work continues, the longer struggle continues. Because I don't want to face what is the energy that I am responsible for that is making this situation disturb my spirit so much. That's making this situation something I don't like. What is happening in my energy field that's manifesting this reality? So the quicker we develop this power to face, wow, you'd become a superhero by tomorrow. So the power to face will stop your worrying, so you won't waste any more time in the limits. And the courage, the virtues that develop that particular power will be courage, self-confidence, dignity, patience, peacefulness, purpose, determination. Do you see how important this power is, everyone? For the last few months, when we had the session with Ainsley MacLeod, if you haven't seen that session on past lives and reincarnation, prior to that, when Lakshmi was here, we were talking a lot about that, how our births of the past are still very prominent in the influence of our personality. And so the thought was, how do we move away from that? Face it. And just the other day, we were talking this morning as well, actually, how when you look at yourself and you go inside in meditation, you're going to find things that you never knew were even sitting there. You might realize you're so guarded, you're not as open as you thought you were, and maybe you thought you were always a free spirit and very open, and in reality, you come to realize, wow, if I'm really a free spirit, then I should be more like this. It seems like I'm more guarded than I am a free spirit. So when you face the soul and you really look at the areas in you that are asking you for love and wisdom, then you'll just grow like leaps and bounds. The power to cooperate helps you in group settings especially. If you're living more than one in a family, or if you're working with more than one in a company, you need this power to cooperate. It's the ability to work with others. It's looking at each other's highest qualities instead of their weaknesses. It's to develop the power to accept, acknowledge, and appreciate others. Really important. That's what I love about our team, the way we work together. It's that we have a deep sense of respect for each other's strengths. So each person just does what they need to do with faith and with trust. So the virtue needed is sweetness, practicality, easiness, a sense of humor. You need a sense of humor in a gathering, I tell you. Because when you're working with team dynamics and you have deadlines or some things are really important, then, sometimes you kind of lose it with each other, and sometimes a sense of humor will help. So be resourceful, respectful, and harmonize each other. Thank you all so much for participating in that, because that's the session of tonight, is the importance of looking at our powers and why these powers will help us to gain so much insights into becoming a master of the self, becoming a Raj Yogi. When you practice Raj Yoga, it's where you're saying to your soul, I am the self-sovereign. I am in charge of my life, how I want to think and feel, and I'm being guided by Baba. So I can't go wrong if the one who's the ocean of love and the ocean of wisdom and the ocean of peace is guiding my thoughts and is directing my life. How can I go wrong? Everything will just open up for me like 1,000 suns, like everything will be so bright, right? So when I develop these powers and apply them in my everyday life, and you'll see they'll come up very simply. Let's say, for example, you're having a bad relationship with a sister, and you're not getting along with her. And you keep having the thought to pick up the phone to call your sister and talk with her, just to say how you're doing. I'm just checking in, Om Shanti, or hello, I've missed you. But every time you go to the phone, that weakness comes in your mind, and you go, no, she did this, she was like this. I might call and then she takes it the wrong way, or she might not accept it, or I'm just going to get more angry when I talk to her because she's like that, she's like this. So what happens is that you didn't apply the power. You know, the power maybe to accommodate, or the power to face the relationship, but instead there was the weakness. You see how important the powers are now, folks? So when the power is within you, then you got the thought, I want to make up with my sister. And then you just go to the phone, type in the numbers. You go, hi Mary, I've been thinking of you. Is everything all right? Then you applied the power versus the weakness. Now you see how subtle the powers are and how they can come to your aid? All right, let's do a little meditation on the source of all powers. And I'd like you to really settle into this meditation as we contemplate on what we have taken for the last 4 lessons, and also what we're taking in this lesson tonight, to see how it makes me feel a little bit more complete, or it might help me to get closer to who I really am. So let's take a breath and have this meditation time together.
We're about to go on a journey that enables us to regenerate our powers, our Shakti. We are about to reconnect with the highest source of all beauty, all power, all love. Imagine that you can see on the screen of your mind a tiny star. You might see or sense this. Either is fine. The star is pure light. Be aware of this star. Tune into this star. Feel the frequency of this tiny point of pure light. And now simply transfer your awareness, your sense of self, across and into that star, into that light. Feel that you have become the light. pure freedom, eternal energy. Feel the lightness of being, in being just a tiny point. As you easily, naturally and gently sit in the awareness of being pure energy, it's as if an ancient part of you starts to remember, to connect with the source, the beginning. Tuning in now to this memory as it becomes a powerful ray of pure light, a golden pathway that gently shoots upwards from you, the star, and travels to the source. As you naturally glide with the ease of being light along that pathway of light, you arrive in a world of pure energy, pure, warm, golden red light, vital, yet so calm. Gently, ever so gently, you are pulled to the very core of the source of power. Diving fully and easily into that source. Resting. Feeling. Allowing. Quiet. Natural. Floating in the purity of this gentle power, deeply letting go, allowing. At one, overflowing energy, light, power. In a moment, we're going to make the return journey, knowing that you can always come back, because this is your memory, your relationship with the source, with God. And so, effortlessly gathering your awareness, bringing with you the memory and the stillness and the power of the source. Travel easily along your golden pathway, back to the star on the screen of your mind, bringing with you the peace, clarity, and power of your inward and upward journey. In your own time, and when you're ready, become aware of your breathing, your body, the sounds around you. And now bring your conscious awareness back to this room and holding the experience open your eyes.
Perfect, right? That was a lovely meditation to sort of seal more clarity in the powers and how important they are in our lives. So we've done 5 lessons of Raj Yoga meditation, and I don't know if next week we'll do advanced sessions, but for those who have been with us from the beginning of part 1 till part 5, we'll be on a Zoom call together and we'll go over some deeper concepts, and any questions that you might have, you can raise them to me on our Zoom session together, and we'll be able to answer them to our best ability. And then if you'd like to join the advanced classes after a few other sessions together, you'd be most welcome to do so. So that's what it is. You have now been officially inaugurated or anointed as a Raj Yogi student of the Brahma Kumaris. And of course there's a lot more to it, such as the disciplines of how you spend your day and your diet and all of these things, but those come later on. But for now, I'd like you to really think about what you've been through in the last 5 days. What are the changes that are occurring in your consciousness, and have you felt the shift of really tapping more into your immortality and the energy of the soul, and feeling the light that you are, and wanting to come out of any old patterns that you feel are quite unhealthy for you, especially now, and you are sensing a great need to heal. For many of us that are going inwards and really beginning to unpack a lot of the stuff that we've been holding, there can be a lot of sensitivity, a lot of emotions swirling inside of you at this particular time, and all of that is very, very good. It means you're getting closer to using the power to face how powerful you really are. And the quicker you can acknowledge and recognize how powerful you are, just imagine the tremendous amount of healing that will take place. Incredible, right? Okay, so give me your thumbs up if you've enjoyed the sessions and if you thought that they've been useful. Again, if you're planning to continue with some of the advanced classes, make sure you email us at meditationmuseum@gmail.com. And to make sure that you've done all the 5 lessons, I do recommend that you go back and revisit some of the sessions, maybe tomorrow when you're just walking around the house making coffee or making breakfast or cleaning up. Just play it back and just see how it has a way of sort of really opening up something in you. How are you supposed to feel after this course? Awakened, different, a sense of responsibility that I have the power to change myself. There should be an openness to want to learn more about who's recorded in you, like, who are you really on the inside, like a deep sense of interest, like, wow, there's so much to me that I haven't really taken the time to explore because I was so caught up in him and her and it and that and this one and that one, and I lost such insights into who I really am. So the more you're in connection to Baba, everything will be fine. You'll see how things will just start to just come together. I'm not saying that after you've awakened to the study that everything just runs smooth for you tomorrow. Things might be the same, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually, intellectually, you're not supposed to be the same person. You're supposed to be an opened resource of love and wisdom and curiosity and light and might. From this day on, it's our wish that you fly, that you completely really recognize just how valuable you are, how powerful you are, because of your openness to have such a deep, intimate love affair with the divine, with the supreme being that is really here for you right now. The energy of God is really here for you to take, for you to use, for you to have a relationship with, for you to become what you once were, His child, full, rich, abundant, golden aged. It's time that we wake up in the world that people just stop giving each other suffering and sorrow, and it's time we wake up in a world where people have self-respect. So it's just natural for them to respect others. And that's what this Raj Yoga course is about. Building your self-respect so that the world can have self-respect. Thank you so much for joining us. Lots of good wishes for today and always. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to email us. But if you've done the course, all the 5 lessons, please just sign in and then we can do the Zoom stuff. So all the questions there would be easier for me to answer because I might not be able to do it individually. Anyway, lots of good wishes. We'll end with some memories of Golden Age, the future, beyond this Iron Age. Enough of this old stuff. Let's look at what the beauty of the future can look like. Come from inside of yourself and find your inner beauty and see how you can create that beauty around you for your future. So Om Shanti. Have a lovely evening. Good night.